when we talk about the Indian schools here, we pretty much just say, well, this just pertains to the people here. It doesn't really pertain to our people down there. I mean, even deeper, you got to think about is we being NICAN TLACA, we being indigenous. We don't even think about that, especially, you know, our people in what's called Mexico, Central America. I mean, even some of our people that are full-blooded, they don't see themselves as indigenous. They don't see themselves as NICAN TLACA. They don't see themselves as part of that. And as you can see, what Carlos just described and Olin has been describing, that's why. Because we've been through a process of colonization, a deep colonization, a deep psychological warfare that's been played on us. So there was this one guy named Fray Bernardino de Sahagún who basically said, and his philosophy was this, and he writes it down and these sources, you know, as you know, this is like a double thing, a double-edged sword here, because this is basically the thing that we got to hold on to, because a lot of information is here, but also what he did was not because he wanted to save us, basically because he wanted to basically know our psyche, know how we understood the Creator in order to destroy it. So in doing this, they took over 600 or 700 of the youth that survived the Holocaust and basically funneled all these and got the best ones that understood, that talked about this, that the ones that could understand Latin and Nahuatl and Spanish, and then some of them maybe had some knowledge in being a tlacuilo, meaning a writer or artist. And what happened, they started implementing their philosophy, their teachings, their Christianism, and pretty much the same ideas that went on in the missions, the same ideas that went on in the Indian schools here, were implemented back then. So when we talk about, you know, us, okay, well, we know about our past. I mean, some of our people, I mean, the full-blooded, the ones that say it came down orally, it's not so, because it couldn't have come down orally. Then that's the same thing that goes up here in the north, because a lot of our people, the ones that were initially put into the Indian schools, were the kids of the great chiefs, of the great warriors. But so what I'm trying to get to is that this knowledge of coming down from you know, it was teachings done by, you know, like my great grandfather told me, or etc., or it's oral traditions, is bogus. Because if that's the case, how many of our people right now in Oaxaca, so many people in Puebla, even the people who are full-blooded NICAN TLACA down there, they're not teaching this. So here we have the big lie of La Virgen de Guadalupe. And oh, look, all these aspects are indigenous. Tonantzin, even the name of Mother Earth. And when the missions were instituted, the same idea of basically destroying. Once we bring them in here, would destroy their morale, would destroy them, and eventually would destroy them ethnically. And so the missions was a big factor in what's called Mexico, but also they went up to, obviously we know, California and Texas. That it's another monstrous tale there, because it's like the missions weren't a place where you went and congregated to know about your history. No, it's to brainwash you, psychologically traumatize you, and destroy you eventually. And I'm going to read a little excerpt here. At home, she'd been taught to believe a single creator and enjoyed to respect the white people's way of worshiping because it was merely another form of giving reverence to the same deity. But at school, she was told that our language belonged to the devil, as did the Saltillo religious observances. They told us that our parents and our grandparents, all of our people, they were chanting to the devil. At school, she was taught that all the things she learned at home were ugly and meant for the devil, with the result that she became ashamed of being Indian. You know, you read the other passages for as far as like other of these writings in the missions, same exact thing. You read it with Sahagún, the same thing, the devil. Basically to discourage and destroy us. And you know, here we're talking about identity. We're talking about you know, embracing our culture, embracing who we are, for those of us that we're lucky to know. And but also you gotta understand this whole Latino, this whole NICAN TLACA, you know, the way they want to destroy us with other terms, and it's something that is genocidal and ethnocide. One gentleman, the name of Ralph Lemkin, who basically introduced the concept of genocide and trying to implement it in the United Nations. So you know, basically it's there so people could protect nations or groups of people that when are being attacked. But so there's one part where Lemkin wrote, it says, genocide has two faces. One, destruction of the national pattern of oppressed a group. The other, the imposition of a national pattern of the oppressor. The imposition, in turn, may be made on the oppressed population, which is allowed to remain, or upon the territory alone, after the removal of the population and colonization of the area by the oppressor's own nationals. I could think of something like, you know, this perfectly fits with this whole Latino, this whole Hispano, the quantum blood idea where, you know, okay, well, if you're a little bit Indian, then you might be, okay, you might hold possession of some land, but in reality, what they're trying to say is like, become lighter, become whiter, and eventually you're not going to hold any land. See, that's the I guess the burden to most white supremacists is like, oh man, they're still holding on to their past. So what could we do to, you know, destroy them? And you know, that's something that we got to take into account, because that is, you know, these terms, these imposed terms on us, this whole you know, destruction of our identity. It's not just something that just came from something from yesterday. It's been around, and it started in 1492, and most evidently you could see it with the writings of Sahagún, with the missions and the Indian schools. But thank you for coming, and that's pretty much it. Thanks.